What's going on, VidLifters? It's another Tuesday night, and we are here to talk about videos, give some opinions about some videos, and just, I don't know, joke around, have a little bit of fun. And first up tonight, let's go around the room and introduce everybody. I have got this guy. Wait.
Oh, sorry, I had a piece of food stuck. I didn't have a toothpick, so I used a ruler. I'm good. All right, thanks.
I thought you were pulling a Ron Swanson and going to pull your tooth out to show everyone your dominance. All right, tell everybody who you are.
My name's Donovan. I'm from RV on the Wayside, where we plan to make movies but never do. And we do enjoy making fun videos, and we are about to start traveling again. We're heading to Mexico extremely soon. And so you will start seeing some travel videos, and we have some other things already almost done so I can get 2 weeks ahead so my procrastination can't happen for more than 2 weeks.
Okay, Mr. Donovan. All right, next up, I'm going to introduce someone new to our panel. This is Joshua. He's with Gander Flight. We have actually reviewed one of his videos here. And we know him from the Facebook group RV Content Creators, where we all get to talk about different aspects of content creation there. He is the moderator for that group. And I asked him if he'd like to join us tonight, as Steve Turtle is out right now. And he said yes. So, Joshua, go ahead and tell us about your channel.
Hi, well, I'm Joshua. I'm over at Gander Flight, where we do a lot of RV stuff and DIY projects. And I'm pretty stoked you guys asked me to step in for Steve, and I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Glad to have you here. And last but not least, we are back to the future with Mr. McGuire. Did you bring any instruments for us to play tonight?
Not tonight, brother. Tonight, you just get this. And so I'm Scott from McGuire's on Tires. My wife, my two daughters, and myself, we travel around. We document our experiences and share it in a travel vlog on McGuire's on Tires. We'd love for you to check out what we got going on. We've got some travels. We're hitting the road tomorrow. I'm a teacher, and we're finally out of school for the summer. Finally, we're hitting the road tomorrow. Going to start some adventures here in a state park in South Carolina. Oh, did I go over time already? I was also going to say that, oh yeah, it's time to get out. I was also going to say, if you are not familiar with Josh's Facebook group, you definitely want to be. It's called RV Content Creators, and it's amazing the wealth of knowledge that's shared in there. I learn something every time I log in. It's amazing.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Scott. So I guess we should just dive right into our first video, and then that way we can all just cut up later. I see we got a few people in here. Welcome, everybody.
Nice background there, Dave.
The background photo?
No, you. Yeah.
Yeah, back to the purple curtains.
Yeah, it looks good.
Tanya loves purple, and so we put purple in many places as possible. So, all right. Let's go with our first one. This is a short. I think I've got this formatted to cover us all up, but in case, I don't know, we'll see how this goes. This is, you know what, I got to look it up. This is Howling Wheels Adventures. They sent this in, and let's play this, and we'll talk about it. Oh, what a fun video that was. And yeah, we'll talk about all aspects of that. But let's start going with Donovan. You are first up, Mr. Donovan.
Well, first of all, let me just say I like that so much that it just makes me want to get on the ground and roll around. And so I just did it in my chair instead. So that's good enough. Absolutely love the infectious laugh. Oh my gosh, Petra, you are awesome. Made me laugh so hard. I showed it to my wife and we just sat here and giggled with you. It was so great. Couple things I thought about. Maybe the wind noise. I don't know. You may not have the editing software, but some way to pull out some of that little bit, or even silence the parts where the wind's blowing by itself when there wasn't a need for any other sound. And that's reaching because it's a short, right? And it's a very successful short, and it's probably not a big deal, but it's something to think about. And the only other thing I might have added was you said wait for it, and I loved that. But maybe break time. I know your title said that what do they do during, but actually put break time maybe on the bottom or the top when you were getting ready to go to that point. That way you led them, here it comes. So that's about it for that. What do you think, Joshua?
So I really like shorts. I think that the vertical video aspect of shorts is something that is just completely untapped in YouTube. And it's almost like, going out west to look for gold, because YouTube doesn't even know how they're going to use shorts yet. So what's really cool is you can experiment with it and do whatever you want. This short is absolutely killing it. Over 111,000 views. And it just shows you the power of shorts and the power of that vertical video, the rawness of it. And I think what's really cool about shorts is that you don't even have to have the audio from the videos. Like adding the music in takes something that would necessarily be hard to keep someone's attention audibly. You just put music behind it. It makes a perfect short because you don't have to have the audio. So I really liked how they used the music to bring the story along, because it was interesting to watch, except it was just, you're watching the dogs roll. And the laughter at the end is definitely infectious as well. I think it was, I don't know. I really like that. I like vertical video to experiment with, and it's really cool to see how different people are using it. And I like taking my dog on a bicycle too. I really want to know what gear they're using to connect the dogs to the bike. Is there some sort of quick release or not? So that's a question I have. Maybe another short could be going over how you take your dogs out on your bicycle. That's all I got for the short for right now.
I really like the so I was watching and we got to a certain point. Donovan's already timing me. I'll see it. There you go. Go. We got to a certain point and I was watching the subject matter and the dogs are super cute. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then it was the same thing just kept happening. So there comes a point where my attention span started to wane. But right about that moment, the screen went, wait for it. I'm like, oh, you threw me back in. There's something to wait for. So I waited. But my feedback that you might want to look into would be I waited, and I'm not sure I got a payoff that was worth waiting that long for. But now that's Scott's opinion. There are 111,000 people that say that what you're doing is fine. So that's just me. Then there's one other thing that I'm baffled by is it took 6 seconds on the bike, just moving along, before we got into the action with the dog and the music started, and I was right there with you. I wonder if you would have not had that 6 seconds, would we be at 111,000? Would we be at more? Would we be at less? I'm just, again, that's Scott's opinion. 111,000 people think you're doing a great job. And I mean, they're so precious. It's really cool.
All right, guys. Well, we have got plenty of time, so I'll just drag it on a little. No, just kidding. So this video was a lot of fun. It's very inviting. Honestly, I love to get down on the ground with my German Shepherd and roll around, and she likes to stand over me and lick me in the face and like, what are you doing down here, Father? But it's a lot of fun. And this video was very inviting. You got two beautiful dogs and you're down there, you get rolling around with them. And that's just fun. It draws you in. I do agree with Scott. That first 6 seconds, just imagine if people would have been drawn in faster, you might be at 1 million views. Just a guess. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum from Joshua, though, as far as the vertical format. I don't know if I would say I'm old school. I love going to the cinema. I love going to the movies and watching a film and stuff like that. And so I kind of feel like the vertical format is binding. It's almost like I'm in jail and I've been put in walls and I can only express myself so far. But that's just personal opinion, though. That's not like this is a right or this is a wrong. I've done some shorts and I've kind of veered away from them. And now, just this week, like one of my favorite YouTubers, who I say too much, Peter McKinnon, he actually just released his first short. And I'm like, oh, it hurt me a little bit because he hadn't done a single short up to this point. I'm like, no. But I mean, he's already been mastering probably that format on Instagram, so it probably really wasn't that tough for him to transition. The one thing I would have done differently for this is the sound contrast. It starts off pretty quiet, and when the music hits, it was very loud. Now I had to prep it for this show, and so what I do is I put it into Adobe and I actually get it ready for the show just right. And the audio was pegging. It didn't hit the red line, but it was right there. And I even was like, oh, this is loud. And Tanya actually walked past me when it was playing. She's like, that's loud. So I knocked it down, I think 30% before I re-exported it for the show, because that music kind of put me off. It would have been different if it was the same through the whole thing. Like you set your audio level and then you just match. But when it's really different. We were actually watching another video today that Tanya wanted to show me that had a similar problem. As they changed where they were at, we were getting blown out. Like, oh my goodness, turn it down. That kind of, depending on how people are watching, that can actually hurt a little bit. So just watch those audio levels. Try to get them a little bit more normalized through your video. All right, let's take a look at this video one more time, and then we will go around the round table. Round and round we go. All right, y'all. What else y'all got for this video? Anything?
I do love the ending. Help!
She's so funny.
Daisy just came over here to see me. She's like, are you talking about other dogs?
I thought, one thing she could have done to keep it fresh during the longer piece, you could have cut that wait for it moment short. I'm with you guys on that. Could have been a little shorter. Or she could have, when the one dog stops rolling, zoom in on just the other dog and then pop back out to the foal and then zoom in on that one and pop back out. That would have kept it moving, and you could have still put the length in, but I don't know if the length needed to be that long. But either way, I thought that's a way you could have kept it moving if you really wanted the full minute.
I thought the same thing. Now the length, the person who is attracted to this subject matter is going to watch for the full minute. That length doesn't bother them. But I'm with you. If I'm somebody that kind of likes it, you could have kept my attention by changing angles, kept all the same footage and kept the same length. But by changing angles, you're just keeping my attention. And the person who likes the dogs is going to keep watching regardless. But I was coming at it also from a music standpoint. The music was awesome. It was perfect for this video. It was fun, upbeat. I liked it a lot. If we could have just had some cuts and some changes to go with the music, I think that would have tied it all together and kept my attention.
So you guys were saying that the initial 6 seconds when pulling on the bike was a bit long for you. Would you cut that totally out? Or because I think it sets the scene, because if you just show the dogs rolling on the grass, I don't know why. I don't know. Like, I think having them show, it's an interesting thing to see dogs pulling a bike. Usually that is not something you see. And so it sets the scene for what they're taking a break from.
What's the title of the video? That's why you got to have the first scene.
See, but I don't even know that titles necessarily matter, because if you're watching a short as a short is intended, you're not on your computer, you're on your phone, and it's just flipping through. It's just presenting it to you by the algorithm. So the descriptions and the titles matter. You should do them. But as far as 111,000 views, I bet 1,000 people saw that title or read that description. Like, it does not play into the algorithm kicking that out as much as it would a traditional video that's going to be in landscape and have, you know, a subject matter.
And that's why I would have, and Joshua, because you said that, that's why I'd have added break time at that last 1 second of that 6 seconds. I'd have said break time.
Right.
And then because then you didn't need the title at all. But if you read the title, then you saw why she showed the sled dogs.
Right.
You know, we've talked before, you got to know your viewer. I think the 111,000 views on that are people that love those dogs, not people who like being pulled by dogs on their bicycle. So in answer to your question, I would have cut the 6 seconds. For me, if I'm scrolling through and I'm watching you being pulled on your bike for 6 seconds, that's not going to keep my attention. However, if we get rid of that 6 seconds and what I see are cute dogs rolling around, I might watch that for a moment. So
you might watch it for a moment, but are you going to stick around?
See, that's the thing. If I'm a dog person, I'm going to stick around. If I'm somebody that just goes, oh, this is neat, and we put in those cuts that we were talking about, yeah, I would have stuck around. I would have gone, oh, that's neat. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, okay.
So I'm just wondering, you know, there's a lot of people who are dog people, but you can niche down in dogs to dog sledding. You're going to, if someone's interested in dog sledding, they're going to definitely go check out the rest of the channel, versus how many people think, you know, you see a cute puppy and then you scroll on again. So I think you may get that, but then you're also going to grab those other people even hard. You're going to hook them even deeper if they are interested in it.
That's a great point, that if you're niching down and you're going to the point of what your channel focus is, that's how you're going to draw people over. If you've got 111,000 views on a short, if that short is content different than what's on your channel, it's not really going to grow your channel, because those people are not going to transfer over as repeat viewers or subscribers. But like you said, if that is what your channel is about, that's brilliant. That will draw them over.
Yeah. And so Howling Wheel Adventures, if you know, I'm sure you know them, but if Jessica Hatch runs Gone with the Sled Dogs, millions of subscribers across multiple platforms, and all she does is dog sledding stuff with her huskies. And she's huge. Definitely, if you have not, go check out her stuff and just get some inspiration. Her TikTok videos, her Instagram reels, her YouTube shorts. Mimicry is the greatest form of flattery. So definitely don't be afraid. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You obviously, there's some traction there. Capitalize on it and do more of that.
Dave, I feel like you had some brilliant
I'm waiting.
nugget.
I've just been examining some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, looking at like their score with TubeBuddy, things like that. I pulled up the video. I just wanted to see how it looked on the phone format. One of the things that I do think is good in talking about converting a Shorts viewer to becoming a subscriber, I think that their logo with the dog howling, and then the name Howling Wheels Adventures, which you can see on the bottom of this, plays out well. Even when you go back to the first 6 seconds, the dogs still fill most of the frame. So honestly, I think it's a great video all the way around. I would have to say that as it went on, maybe there could have been cuts a little bit more often, because it did feel a little bit long and I had to be told to wait for it. And I'm guessing the payoff was seeing her on the ground with the dogs. But Yeah.
But go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Do you think that was horizontal video that was cropped to then add the fuzzy at the top and bottom, or is that a filter? Is it?
No, I think it was horizontal. I think that they cropped it off the sides.
Okay. So that was another thing that just kind of, we started out vertical, and then we had the fuzz bars, and it all, obviously it worked. It got picked up and got promoted. But at the same time, we also, as creators, have to be in the back of your mind, create content for the platform that you're intending. So you're not going to put the same picture on Instagram that you are on Facebook, or people do it, but usually they don't do it with great success on all of it. So when you're putting up a vertical video, even if it's on a YouTube channel that does horizontal videos all the rest of the time, you really try, because you only get 4.5 inches on the phone. You want to fill it and not waste 2/3 of it with. At the same time, use what you got. If you got the footage, use it, because it's obviously working.
Yeah.
One last thing I'd like to add is it was brilliant to cut the music off right when she's laying on the ground getting mauled by the dogs. That was awesome. That helped sell that moment for me, is the music stopped. Boom. And all of a sudden she starts giggling. So I wanted to say that was a great point of where she put the music in and where she took it out. That was the last thing I had on my list. But
from an editing standpoint, I think that's a great tactic to cut the sound to maximize a moment. But I would love to see the music and the subject matter kept that viewer engaged for 48 seconds. And then we cut the music. I would love to see what the audience retention does when that music cuts. I've got some shorts where something changes, and because, and to me, it was the same or similar content, but because it was different, there was a drop off in retention. They went, oh, I like this. Oh, something changed. Scroll past. I'd be curious to see what that retention graph looks like right there.
Yours didn't say wait for it though, did it?
That's a good point.
So just a technical thing that I noticed on the title for everybody, it had hashtag short and hashtag shorts, and it's hashtag shorts with an S. The hashtag short without the S isn't going to help you one way or the other. So it's just added.
Joshua, I was actually going to criticize that when I first saw it. I'm like, that's not how you do that. But then I didn't even realize they had so many views until y'all brought that up before we started the show. And I'm like, wait, is that how you're supposed to do it?
The YouTube algorithm is interesting because YouTube suggests that you put hashtag shorts in the title and somewhere in the description. But you don't have to. If you have a vertically formatted video that's under 30 seconds, the algorithm can and might pick it up even if you don't. It's just the computer will go through the list of hashtags first before it starts searching the database otherwise. But I've seen some shorts that pop up that are 10, 11 years old. Those people we thought they were, you don't know how to use your phone because you don't know how to go like this to turn it horizontal. Yeah. But it gets picked up 10 years later because now all of a sudden we're doing vertical video. And the computer goes back and says, hey, this is under 60 seconds and it's a vertical format. And then the other thing I had is you guys are Dave, you're talking about the audio levels being really high. And just from my own perspective, I know sometimes when I'm, editing a video and the kids are yelling, I've got headphones in, I'll edit the video and then I'll take the headphones out and I'll play it back on the computer. And the volume is so different. So what I've had to learn to do is edit my video, and before I export it, unplug everything and play it as I would go. So go to YouTube, turn on a channel and put my volume where I would feel comfortable listening to it, then go back and play my video and see, because sometimes it's been too low because the earbuds were canceling everything out, that when I exported it would have been too quiet. So that could also have been the other way around.
Yeah.
With the audio.
Hey, I wanted to real quick, while I've got Felix's comment up there about they even have the little symbol. I noticed that, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a little logo. It's the new YouTube Shorts logo. It's like a red S, I guess, over white that shows up on the videos that are shorts. So I just thought that's pretty cool. I think that's a little bit newer within the last month or so.
YouTube put that on, or they put that on?
YouTube put that on.
Okay.
It's worth noting they're clearly gaining some exposure from that. And it's worth looking at. Are they maximizing their, I don't know, are they maximizing themselves, their growth potential from that? One thing you want to do when you were showing on your phone what shows down here, you're going to have that first little bit of your description that's showing. So in that first little bit of your description, you'd call it above the fold, like when a newspaper folds, the top part of the newspaper. So above the fold, whatever you put in that top little bit, that's what people can see when they're reading your shorts or when they're watching your shorts. And so whenever you put out a short, make sure you've got something above the fold that intrigues them and draws them to your channel. Maybe it's a link to another video or just a brief description about, hey, on my channel, I something that's going to draw them over. And you can do that same thing in a pinned comment too. Go make your own comment and then click that you want to pin that comment, but you can link to a video in that pinned comment. You can talk about your channel in that pinned comment. Don't waste that. That's not just you saying, hey, people, thanks for watching. Use that to grow as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are y'all ready to move on with our next video?
Yes, Dave.
I'm sorry, Donovan. I can't do that. All right. Let's see. Who do we have next up? It's a Good Life with Dora and Ed. We better mind our P's and Q's because I think they actually showed up. I haven't seen Howling Wheels Adventures in the live stream, but I believe Dora and Ed are here, so we better be kind, right?
Howling Adventures, I think they're from Ireland, so they may be in bed.
I saw that. So
Well,
that, I mean, that too is also captive. You know, if you could start getting some epic Irish scenery in the back of your dogs, like you combine two different.
Yep. Good point.
All right. Well, let's roll this next clip here.
That's what it is. say hello.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Who this is?
Yeah, edit it. Edit that part out, you know. You're going to lose people if you don't.
All right. That was our next video. And I think we are going to go backwards this time, giving Scott the first shot at talking about this video.
You know what was really cool? They told the story. They took us to the circus. They walked across the bridge. They showed the tent. They showed standing in the line at the tent. We got the popcorn. We entered. Then they showed the ring. My question in all of that, though, is a big chunk of that time was a conversation outside the tent. I wasn't sure how that moved the story along. That in that segment, that would be my question. What was the purpose of including that in there? So when I log in and I watch this video as a viewer, why did you need me to see that? And Dora and Ed, I think you said, are with us. So if y'all could comment in the chat, why was that little snippet of conversation with the person in line? Why was that in there? I'm sure there's a reason. I was just, as a viewer, I didn't quite get that. So that's one thing I would change. But I love how you took us, you gave us the experience. That was really cool.
I liked the use of music. I felt like it really drew us into. It was upbeat. It was drawing in. And I like how we got to see coming into the circus, like up to the tent and then into it. And there was a lot of good panning shots. There wasn't a whole lot of static. There was a lot of movement, but it was smooth enough that I could see because, you know, we're walking into the tent and I want to see left. I want to see right. I want to go all over the place. One thing that I would have changed is that when we were coming across that bridge to the tent, the pace of the visual and the tempo of the music, I felt like I was like, okay, come on, I got to move. So I probably would have sped up the video just slightly so that it matched what a footstep would take to the tempo of the music, so that both of them would coincide. Because I felt like the video was almost slowing down, but the music was speeding up, and my brain was having trouble coinciding them. I would agree. I had a little bit of what Scott said. I don't quite understand how the conversation portion played into the story, because I watched the rest of the video and it was all about the circus part of it. And so it was just a little confusing as to what part that played, because I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll see later on in the video how that connected, and then it didn't connect for me. But I really liked how from the end of the clip we saw there, but then also on to the end of the movie, you know, it wasn't just a camera on a tripod watching one specific thing. There was just slight panning all over, different shots. And then the circus was pretty darn cool.
All right, so my two favorite things. I loved your smiles, and I do agree with everybody else. I thought that part kind of disrupted the story a little bit, but just maybe a couple quick 1 second shots of everybody smiling, because the 1 second shots you had of getting close to the tent were amazing. Boom, the tent. Boom, there's the entry. I mean, those were just drew me in. And you could have done that with the smiling faces, so you still got the feel for that you guys were having fun in line without having, because the conversation was hard to follow and that kind of thing. But that's, you know, neither here nor there. Something you might consider, and I know Joshua said about speeding it up. Last week, we talked about the zoom out as you go forward to make it the extend and make it look longer. What you could have done is you could have zoomed in as you were going forward, and you could have made that whole thing come closer, faster, and not had it so long. I wouldn't even show you getting on the bridge. I'd have just shown you the bridge and then bring it right in real close and cut right then. Make it 3-4 seconds, because that would have kept the pace of the music and jumped you right in to getting off the bridge, but letting you know you had to cross it still. Another thing that I really thought this might help. Whenever people, we talked last week about this too, and I want to say kudos to your panning across that thing. I know you didn't have a tripod or probably a gimbal, but you did perfect. You kept that nice and steady going across the stage. Don't pan right and then pan left. Instead of going, because you did this you did this, you went this way and then you went across. Just cut to the going across, because we already saw that part and then we saw it twice. So just start here and then come across and then cut it right when you're on stage. What's left of stage, unless it was super important, doesn't matter. I felt like you were bringing us from the audience into the stage. Boom, there's the curtain. Right on the center of the curtain, cut it off. And that would have made it even feel more exciting, like you brought the audience right to here, and then you're good to go. So that's my couple things. That's cute.
I got to have some, I guess, offline conversations with Dora and Ed as they were sharing. They didn't pick the time frame. They allowed me to pick the time frame for this, and they had told me that what they had really struggled with was the lighting inside with the circus, as well as the music, because they were getting hit with copyright issues. So once they were in there, they had to replace a lot of the music with their own to avoid any issues. But they felt like editing with the lighting in there was difficult. I will say that y'all succeeded very well. I thought everything inside looked great. In your use of music, I could tell when it transitioned to your music, but it sounded great. The reason I picked the time frame I picked was because I wanted to, I mean, once you're inside, it was just like, you know, hey, you're just showing us the circus. That's cool. There wasn't really anything to talk about from our perspective. This gave us different aspects and transitions and things like that to look at. I liked the way, because we came right out of your intro and then going across that bridge. And I like that. That's my kind of a movement. And I would have to say I used to have longer stretches like that, and I have learned to chop them down to like 5 to 2 seconds, somewhere in there. just to help people get there faster. I felt like the conversation outside the tent felt like it was meant to be fun, and I got some of that. It was, it's very similar to the banter between the four of us that you see on the screen right now. The difference was that the audio, it was hard to pick up on all the conversation, so we didn't connect with that scene, and so then it felt like it was out of place. Maybe if there had been some more talking, like when going across the bridge about why we're here, and I believe there was more of that elsewhere. I know that this was a special show they were putting on just for the work campers. So yeah, and then was it Donovan? One of y'all said show more interaction as well inside the circus too. That would have even helped that scene outside of the circus feel more connected. Well, the last thing, and this is probably not anything that Dora and Ed have done themselves. I think it was the editing software. But as the transitions were happening between each scene, whatever they were using from the editing software was doing this thing where it would move and then stop and then move again. And that part was bugging me. But I don't think that's anything that y'all are doing on purpose. I just think that must be the editing software that you're using, whatever transition you had picked, something to that effect. It kind of, every time that would stop, and I'm like, oh, stop that. Keep it moving smoothly. So that's what I've got. Let's take a look at it again and then go round and round. Come on, Donovan, go round and round. Oh, we're taking a harder look?
That's what it is. say hello.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Who's this is?
Yeah, it's like, edit it. Edit that part out, You're going to lose people if you don't.
All right. Mike's hot, gentlemen.
We all commented on that conversation outside the tent. And I was thinking, when I watched it, clearly they're having fun. Like, I wanted to have fun with them, but watching from the outside, it was like an inside joke that nobody let you in on. So maybe now that I see in the chat, you said those were some work camper friends. You just wanted to show having fun with work campers. Maybe if we knew them, or had we met them earlier on, or we knew something about them, let us inside the joke, and that makes that a little bit more fun. I don't know exactly how you would have done that, but like I say, it felt like there was an inside joke that I didn't get let in on. It was like Donovan in middle school, really.
Okay. Thank you. By the way, during the dog video, it made me think of every time you go like this, how everybody, I know at home are doing it too. So, it's good, Scott.
So I'm going to jump in there, Donovan, on what you said about how you liked the shot of the tent and it burst and then it faded away. I had a little bit of issue with that clip in so much as, and my suggestion being, don't be afraid to put a transition on one end or the other. You don't always have to do both. So I think that what you had the idea of, almost, it made me think of fireworks. So you have a boom and then a fizzle. And so I think with that specific clip, if we had come across the bridge, we had just a clean cut, a jump cut to the tent as the explosion, and then the fade to white as the fizzle, that it would have allowed me to see. Because what happened was the transition at the beginning, the transition at the end, overlapped so much that the actual time we saw the clip was like too fast, almost too fast to notice.
It's funny because that's what I was just about to talk about, Joshua. So
I just jumped in there and give it before you did.
No, it's good. I'm glad you did it because I can talk about it in a different way now. So transitions are fun. We all love seeing them, and we all love using them, but don't use them a lot. So like when you were doing those 1 second cuts, cross dissolve has no business there. Just cut, 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 and just let it jump from one scene to the other. It feels faster. It actually feels cleaner. When you do a cross dissolve or something, you're about to unveil something, or you're about to close something completely and change time frames. Use them sparingly where they have a purpose. And I think you'll find how much your videos will feel more powerful if you guys, and I'm talking, not just talking to Dora and Ed, because they already told me to behave, which, good for you. But I'm talking to everybody. I see a lot of videos where they use almost a transition on every scene. Don't do it. It's not, you'll love your videos better if you only use transitions when they're going to imply something's going to change. And I think you'll like that better. Now, I've seen some videos where they do a ton of it and it's super fast stuff. And sometimes it looks good, but that's not the norm. That's all I wanted to put out on that.
Yep, use the transitions as a part of the art. But yeah, I do the same. There's been points where I've used it too much, but yeah, when it's, for me, like I do a review of a state park, and it's usually like, okay, I look at the campsites, just normal cuts, and now I'm transitioning to the day use area. That's when I would use a fancy transition because I've moved completely different areas.
Yeah, and when you do your transition to the toilet, you should put Scott's face up every time you go to that one.
I'm number one.
And number two.
Number two.
I wonder what YouTube would do if I actually put Scott's face in one of my videos.
That'd be awesome. I want my 222.
We talked about some of those clips being a little too long, but I said earlier, the thing I liked is you took us from going to the circus, waiting in line, going to get the popcorn, walking in, looking around. That was awesome. So what we could have done is, like when you're crossing the bridge, like Donovan was saying zoom, I think we could have started the zoom and then hit like fast motion. And then that way, this clip, we get to see all of it, but we hurry across the bridge. And we could have done that on a couple things. And then when you have those big things to show, like here's our first shot of the big tent with all the color. I think what Joshua was saying, bam, there it is. Now let's fade and do this. And we could have walked up to the popcorn and then gotten the popcorn, hurried up into and so using some fast motion, I think would have helped some of that. What we saw was not actually the beginning of the video. The beginning of the video is Dora saying, we're going to the circus today. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're going. Da, 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 da. And then we get to do it. What might have been cool, I felt like it took us a little bit too long to get to that action that we just saw. What would have been cool is if we would have you would have started talking and then put that under what you just showed us. You could have talked us through all of that as we watched it happen. And so using some B-roll, putting that stuff over the talking head, and Josh is the master of that. If you go over to Ganderflight and just watch some of his videos, you'll see he's telling a story, but never are you staring at him telling the story. You're watching the story happen. So, I mean, clean cuts instead of transition, majority of the video. What do y'all say about that?
Well,
Also,
like if you go through the rest of the video, there's different like circus scenes, like the change of performance. That's where I would have used a transition just at the change of performance. Well, like when you went from outside to inside, but now you're showing the various pieces or panning around and showing different parts. I would have just done a clean cut in there.
Give it purpose. Make sure there's a reason for a transition.
Sorry for stepping on you, Joshua.
No, that's all right. So jumping off of what Scott said of bringing in the part that we didn't see, the very beginning, Dora and Ed, you've got only so many seconds to grab them in and bring them. Because if you're not delivering right away, they're probably moving on to something else. So two things that I noticed right at the beginning there is just that I could hear the air conditioning. So maybe just turn it off for a minute. And the TV was on in the background. Both of those things distracted me from you and what you were saying. And that was the first 6 seconds. And then we got into the circus part, which was interesting. And then also jumping back to what we were talking about with the vertical stuff, there's a lot of good clips in there of those guys on four-wheelers inside of a metal cage going around in circles that you could cut out and then put into vertical format and post up as some YouTube shorts.
Watching some Joshua's videos, something he does well, and I think it's something that I know the other three of us need to get better at, is when we intro and speak an intro about something, if you can tell that intro, that story in fewer words, do that. Don't make your intro, well, we're going to see a circus and and it's only for work campers, and just say there's a semi-private circus act and we've been invited, and then and then to just get in, because the less words that you can tell the real story behind it, the faster it feels and the more exciting people get. If you make your intro and you talk about it too long, that's when people's attention might start fading. And where Scott's suggestion about moving some of the talking over the platform, going across the bridge or whatever, and that's one way to extend it out if you can't make fewer words. And Scott, I got to tell you, brilliant idea. Oh my God, did I just say, is this public? Is this live? Gosh, darn, I didn't want to do that. You said zoom and speed up. Dude, multimedia effects in one take. I love it. That's brilliant. Do the zoom in and then speed it up as you're still doing it. I love that idea. That was really good. I'm going to have to try one of those, because that's a great idea.
You should try making videos, Donovan. That's a great idea.
You walked right into that. Oh, tiny hands are out. Hey,
go ahead.
I was just going to point out a few things about their channel real quick. They're pulling in thousands of views.
Yes.
Every video, going back to about 3 months ago. Before that, it wasn't a whole lot. I'm just kind of curious. But what happened with living in an RV during winter, no running water, that brought y'all up to the thousands? And every time y'all put out a video, they get 4,000 video views almost immediately.
6 days.
Yeah. They're getting 75 to 80% of their subscriber base in views. Like, that's insane. Can you imagine if some of the bigger channels got those numbers? I mean, it's impressive. Absolutely impressive.
So Dora and Ed, can you tell us in the chat what happened a few months ago? What have you been doing differently over the last few months? Quite frankly, because we want to steal it. What have you tapped into? We want to know. That's awesome.
I don't think they put your face in their videos, although you put your face in their video, right? Yeah.
I do. That's a copyright.
Just so you guys know, if you haven't been to Scott's Live, these inside jokes you'll be inside the joke if you just go see any of his lives.
Nobody wants to be an outsider in an inside joke, just like we just learned. I do have one shorts tip that I meant to mention earlier whenever we're done with learning from Dora and Ed. Mr. Host.
Well, I didn't have a whole lot more to put on there. I was just taking a look through there, and
so they made a mention to Joshua about something there about 6 Up.
I'm hoping they'll tell us
about taking some of that footage and putting it into shorts.
Yeah,
I think that they're typing us a nice long entry. I'm hoping.
And also, I'd like to point out, I love when they pop the music back in at the popcorn. Because I felt like, we're inside the tent. The music started again right when they got into the popcorn. That was really good. You got me all hyped up again. So just remember, some of these things that you're doing are fantastic. And if we miss some, don't feel like you didn't do enough great things, because you did some really great things.
Well,
we're just trying to throw out other ideas and options that you can possibly think about for next time.
I think the music was great in that I watched this video several times all the way through. And until Dave brought it up, I didn't catch that they replaced. I mean, I figured they did, knowing how copyright works, but I couldn't tell you where in the video. It was good to have how they took the choice of music to put it in for the circus, because it really sounded like it could have been at the circus with that music.
What'd they say, Dave?
Great points. I just love this. So helpful. They had started a website, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as, I think that's meant to say, they write weekly blogs. I would have to say somewhere between the TikTok and the write weekly blogs is probably where they're finding some of that success.
And they brought all their fans from one platform over to their YouTube.
Well, when they started, they were like some of these early videos only have like 20 views. Now, what I would be curious to see is there a reason people aren't going back to watching the older stuff? Is it not? I don't know. Well, now I got to go watch it. Is it mystery?
Well, we watched your intro video numerous times there, Dave.
It's not my fault.
We even see the first few seconds almost weekly. I'm just saying.
It's not my fault.
I'm curious if the blog is something that provides valuable content. You draw the reader in, and then you say, "And here's a video from this week that talks about it," and so they're able to promote their current videos. I wonder if that's what they're doing.
Really brilliant, boy, Scott, you're a smart guy.
But
I read website, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, weekly blogs, and I think, whoa.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Can you sustain that? Because you don't want to build something on TikTok to then abandon it in 3 weeks. So definitely make sure you know out of those, what's your priority, which is your baby, and that's gonna be the long hauler, and then put everything in rank and order, because that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Well, if they're pulling 4,000 video views almost immediately upon release of a video, I don't know. I think it's worth it. I say if they keep at it for another year, they're gonna. Well, I mean, they already have enough, I'm sure, to meet the standards. Let's see, they've got
subscribers. I don't know about watch hours.
Yeah, they've got the subscribers, and if they've got 4,000 views on a 10-minute long video, and if people are truly staying with the video,
they should be really close on hours.
Let me tell you, Dora and Ed, I know about horrible first videos. I made them. And then Scott shows them to
Texas
everyone.
Family Camping YouTube channel.
Poor Joshua's like, what are you guys talking about?
So just so you know,
I'm researching.
And some of the people in the audience may not know, Scott made an intro or David made an intro video, and then Scott was going to share it. That same week that Scott pulled it, David wrote on the title, "Do not watch this video," but he didn't want to kick it all the way out because he had so many views on it. And he goes, "It's a terrible video." That same week, Scott pushed his intro video out to everybody, and it was the old one that you're not supposed to watch. So that all became a thing, and so all of us have been putting little snippets of that video in our in our lives and videos.
Yes. So, and I've even played with it since then, since it becomes so much fun. I went and redid the audio where I say like, "Welcome to the McGuire's on Tires YouTube," and "Happy birthday, Scott." I don't know. I just did various ones and sent them to Scott so he could keep having fun with it. Because
so
at that
sometimes
point,
a bad video can go viral.
We should make a short out of that.
Yeah, really.
Right? Honestly, you could probably make a short out of your little intro with all your various channels you have in that 30 seconds of that countdown.
Isn't that fun? I love that. It gets me pumped up every week.
Me too.
So I'm looking at Social Blade, and it seems between January 19th and January 25th, there's a huge subscriber jump, like from 20 to 318.
And
would
you tell us what that
is? So there's something that happened at the end of January that you guys did that just jumped that. And we can't see the watch hours, but I'm almost positive they're over.
Somebody in the family is a media marketing person.
Ah.
Did you say that was January? They were at a few hundred, like a few months ago?
What happened to?
Uh-oh.
He's muted. He's muted. I got him. Nope, I can't. He's still talking.
Josh, unmute.
All right.
All right, give us that again. What did you just say?
The January 19th, they were at 20 subscribers. Then the next week, at February 3rd, they were at 318. And then it just jumps by 300-400 every week until they are where they are now. So something happened at the end of January.
And can you tell us what service you're using to see that kind of thing? Because you mentioned it, but we've never talked about it.
I jumped on socialblade.com.
Talk us through that. What is that?
It's a unreliable. It's a website that you can type in social media usernames and platforms. So you can go and you can type in all of our YouTube channels. You can type in some Instagram accounts and all that. And it gives projections based on public numbers.
Gotcha.
And so it's an algorithm. And good and bad, because if you have a really good week, you just posted a video and it got 4,000 views in 2 days, that's going to change the projection of this algorithm. So don't take anything that Social Blade projects as gospel by the least, because it changes like crazy. But it is kind of cool to go and see, type in your channel, type in a channel that you like, and just see what kind of numbers. I've noticed that the estimated monthly earnings on that page are nowhere near accurate. So don't think if you see your favorite YouTube channels making $2 billion that it's actually correct. Because for their channel, the range is between $7 and $120 a month. That's a pretty big range. Like, they're just guessing.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that. We always like to learn new things like that, for sure.
Very
so
cool.
What's interesting is they created their YouTube channel in 2012.
Wow. Well, that's probably because it's tied to their email address that they started.
Yeah, maybe.
But for 9 years, they had 20 subscribers, and then
Well,
they got.
They didn't post any videos. Like, the account still's there.
Okay, I got you. I see.
It's like people, subscribing to you for your smile, Scott,
And my poop videos.
and your poop videos.
Yep. Before we run out of time, I want to say, how many of us have uploaded a shorts video, and then you don't typically, you can, but you don't typically put a thumbnail with your shorts video. YouTube picks one. Well, you get it in there, and you go, well, that's not the interesting part of the video. YouTube's AI it looks at everything and grabs what it thinks is the common theme, and that's what they try to show. But you look at it and you go, that is not the interesting part. If it just had a different thumbnail, people would be more likely to click on it. But we got to use the short thumbnail they give us. So here's the answer. You take it down and you upload it again. It'll pick a different chunk. And you just do that a couple of times till you find the one, because how long does it take to upload a 1 minute video? I don't know why that didn't occur to me sooner, like back when I was trying to do shorts. But you just upload it again and you'll pick a different one. All right, Josh, what now?
Why? Why not just change the thumbnail?
Why not just change the thumbnail? Is that what you said?
So the only time you see this thumbnail is when you're not in the shorts player. When you're in the shorts player, you don't see any thumbnail. It really doesn't matter what they pick.
You see whatever YouTube tells you is the picture right there. Are you saying that you see the very
So when you're scrolling through shorts, you scroll to the next one, it starts playing. You never see a static thumbnail.
Okay.
So the static thumbnail that they pick really doesn't matter. The only time someone's ever going to see it is if they go to your channel. And in which case, I've got a little template that I made up it's black on the sides and it says shorts, and I just put the picture in the middle just so people know that when they're going to click on it, they're going to get a vertical video. But the only time you see a thumbnail for shorts is when you go to someone's channel. When you're actually in the shorts player, no thumbnails are ever shown.
So when I'm scrolling through, I'm actually seeing the first frame of the video.
Correct.
Okay.
For now. Who knows if they'll change that? But I would assume that they're just going to keep it to autoplay, and when you scroll, it starts the video.
All right, gentlemen, we need to wrap this show up. I just wanted to highlight that next week we're going to be back at Steve Turtle's channel. We're going to have Donovan. You're going to be out traveling. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I will be. I'll be wearing a sombrero. That's all I'm saying.
And I think we've got another possible guest speaker lined up. A little bit of variety in the shaker. I don't know. This week was my turn, and I picked Joshua, and he said yes, and I'm happy.
Yeah, well, thank you, Joshua, for
Thank
doing
you.
it.
It's a pleasure being here.
It's awesome to have you. And everybody, this is his first ever live stream he's been on. He's done amazing. So, all right. So, yes, if you've got any videos you'd like us to check out, email us at vidliftinfo@gmail.com. If you'd like to see the show again next week, it'll be on Steve Turtle's channel. And we hope that y'all have a wonderful week, and we are going to get out of here. Any last words from anybody else?
Happy trails.
No? All right.